The best of heavy metal from 1977 to 1979. Today we're going to be taking a look at the best of heavy metal. But before we get into it, let me just point out that one of my films, Witch Tales, this is a feature film, is on Blu-ray. This is a special limited edition, signed and numbered copy that you can pick up on eBay. It is an anthology horror film based upon pre-code horror comics of the 1950s. This channel is not monetized, so this is kind of the way I make money, by selling my films. So mosey on over to eBay and pick up a copy of Witch Tales today. The best of heavy metal from 1977 to 1979. And there's a couple of things I want to show you right off the bat. The first thing is that, of course, you have this fantastic Moebius cover, and I just love it. You know, this was the cover to issue number 4, I believe, of Heavy Metal, and an early cover, it could have been cover number 3 to Metal Hurlant. What it says here is, of course, it says 295, and it says number 2, curiously. Well, this is actually the first best of Heavy Metal. This is the second special issue of Heavy Metal. The best of Heavy Metal came out in 1982, and it is 96 pages long, as you can see here. You know, it could have been double this, at least 150 pages. I think their choice of stories and artists it's good. Their choice is very good, but it's just too limited. They left out some key artists for some unknown reason. I don't know. They just wanted to keep it to 96 pages. So as with the other book that has just been released by Metal Hurlant, this is Metal Hurlant 1975 to 1984. As you can see, it's a huge book. It's about 290 pages, and they do it right as far as like the amount of stories, a spectacular volume. Now, it is in French. To my knowledge, there is no English edition. So you kind of have to, you know, I mean, if you're a heavy metal fan, you're going to know the stories in this book, you know, no problems. They're going to be in many of the issues you already have. But of course, there's a lot of text too. They have the backgrounds to various stories, as you can see, like Bunker's family, before they go into the story. It's all in French, folks. But the thing is that it is a great edition if you are a Metal Hurlant heavy metal fan, and the link is in the description. So back to Best of Heavy Metal. Now, let's just check it out. We'll open it on up here, and as you can see now, that is from an early issue of Metal Hurlant. The story is not in this, but it is a very funny story, and they just have it, you know, as the inside cover. As you can see here, Best of Heavy Metal, 1977 to 1979, compiled by the staff of Heavy Metal magazine. And here they list all of the various artists and writers. And it's kind of interesting, too, because they have, first they start off with, for instance, Virgo by Caza Bilal by Moebius, Approaching Centauri by Druillet and Moebius, White Knight by Claveloux, Master by Nicolay, Going to Pieces by Schuten, Free Fall by Moebius, and the front cover by Moebius, of course. Copyright 1977-1978, Metal Hurlant, reprinted by permission. Then they have Jetman, 1977 by Angus McKee, City of Flowers by Druillet and Picotto, Death of Orleans by Bilal, Enki Bilal, and Planet of Terror by Caza, copyright 1977-1978, Dargaud, editor, France, reprinted by permission. And then, of course, Den's Farewell by Richard Corbin, 1978, and Mama's Place, 1979, by Arthur Suydam, indicating that certain stories came from Metal Hurlant, other ones came from other publishers, and a few of them were direct. They started off with Bilal by Moebius, and it's a great story, no doubt about that. It's kind of a bit of a shocker, classic science fiction shocker kind of thing. So well done, of course, Moebius. A great way to start off the best of heavy metal, 1977 to 1979. Love that creature there. They call him the pied shell, which is a weird giant pied shell creature. Then we move to Den's Farewell, of course, by Richard Corbin. And yeah, of course, obviously very fitting to be in the best of heavy metal, 1977 and 1979. Great reproduction on this. Colors are fantastic, of course. Really great stuff. No complaints there. Then we move on to White Knight, the story by Za, and the art by the fantastic Nicole Claveloux. The colors are fantastic in this. Much like, in my opinion, like Moebius here. I mean, the colors here are fantastic with, of course, the Moebius. But also, of course, the colors, needless to say, with Corbin. Love her stuff, love the style. She's all over Metal Hurlant and heavy metal. If you especially have early issues, you know what I'm talking about. Great stuff. I think once again the reproduction here is excellent. Now we're getting to Jetman, and this is Angus McKee. And it's pretty weird. It's very, very airbrushy. I'm not really a fan of that extreme airbrush stuff. But it's got that kind of, airbrush thing going for it. If you're into that, that's totally cool. Angus McKee, of course, So Beautiful, So Dangerous, the heavy metal film. He was involved with a lot of stuff, I believe, with the heavy metal movie of 1981. Now, this is just an incredible story, City of Flowers. This was actually written by Philippe Druillet. Now, Druillet is typically the fantastic artist. The guy that does like Uragel and Gale, I believe it is. But the art by Picotto is just absolutely amazing. Look at this spread, man. That is just really quite something. These great splash pages and large panels. Picotto his detail is fantastic. I love his art style as well. Once again, the color reproductions seem to be just great. Now we come up to Nicolas Master, which is really bizarre and kind of funny. Once again, it's like a future dystopian world. Everything's been destroyed. There's people, scavengers on the earth and so forth. And this woman comes out of a manhole. And she's looking around, and she's jumped by this mutant creature. He's trying to violate her. But then suddenly these winged robot angels show up, and they blast the mutant creature, blow his head off. But then they grab the girl, and they take her to this castle, and where this guy lives here, like the king of the castle there. The girlfriend there is barren, apparently cannot get pregnant. He wants kids, and many of them. He kind of tosses her aside, and she's like, oh, screw it, I'm going to kill myself. So she offs herself there. And he's like, oh, this is great. We can repeople the world with hundreds of children. This shows right there. And she's like, what's with this guy? He's out of his mind. And then, of course, she takes her clothes off, and it's a she-male. And the guy's like, oh my God, she's been contaminated by that goddamn radiation. And he's like, a life without purpose, a death without progeny. and he tosses her out of the window there, and he takes the poison wine or whatever the hell it is there, and you see her like in the ruins, lying in the ruins. She's like, it's a hell of a life. And then the cat in the castle. The last shot is the castle, and all these robot angel creatures are flying away. Death of Orleans. This is Caza Bilal. Once again, just a great artist. Definitely, should have been in this best of 1977-1979 edition. Couldn't agree more. Once again, the art is fantastic. A lot of people have made, references to Moebius, in that kind of style. Intricate hatching and really, really cool hatching technique, line work, and so forth. Once again, great colors on this. Going to pieces by shooting, I'm not quite sure, it's just, shooting I like, and I've seen other stuff of his, and it's really great. This one didn't really do much for me. I could see why they included shooting. He's definitely a, what you would consider a major part of Metal Hurlant and heavy metal. Now, Mama's Place, this is Arthur Suydam, and keep in mind this is 1979, I believe. Arthur Suydam is still doing, he's just rocking it. I've got a few issues, believe it or not, of Marvel Zombies, which you may have seen. His covers, he does the covers. He does a lot of the covers, or maybe most of them, to the Marvel Zombies. And he was fantastic back in the day here. This great story, it's a bizarre sci-fi fantasy tale. One of my favorite stories here, and definitely, between Philippe Druillet, who wrote it, and Moebius, who drew it. This one is just like one of those great sci-fi horror stories. And you gotta kind of think it was inspirational to the people that made Event Horizon, for example. It just has that vibe to it. It's called Approaching Centauri. And it starts off, of course, with this great splash page. It's just fantastic, intricate line work. This guy is about to go into some type of hyperspace. So he's in his cockpit there, and he's like, okay, ready, Zeta, Zero, Zap. And then he kind of falls out, and he's in hyperspace. He's naked, and he's falling. This incredible piece right here, where he's falling, and then he can see down below, these amazing structures. There's demons on these structures, and they're waiting for him as he plummets further and further. And then they get a hold of him. Look at those demons. Now, those demons have got Druillet written all over them. The art is by Moebius. It could be the combination of Druillet writing the story, and you could imagine them working together on this, that drove Moebius into this just ultra violent art here. This is stuff that Moebius does get violent. There's no doubt about it. He gets violent with his art, but this is pretty damned hardcore. They're just digging their clawed fingers right into his eyes, gouging his eyes out, munching on his guts, completely devouring this guy, as he screams in horror. He kind of snaps out of it, and he's still in the cockpit. He's thrown up on himself. And he's in there like, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Let's get back to the maneuver. He's like, I saw nothing. I didn't see anything. And of course, approaching the hyperspace jump. Zeta, Zero, Zap. Virgo. Here we go. This is Caza. But this black and white is just stunning. As you can see, she goes into the forest and she eats this fruit-looking thing. It's kind of a weird fruit, and then it seems like she's tripping on it. So she's laying there, and then these things all these little fruits start showing up, and they're like covering her. And until she's just completely engulfed in these things. And yeah, she wakes up the next morning, she's pregnant with one of them. Now here's another black and white story. This is by Moebius, and I think it's written and drawn by Moebius. It's kind of like a visual exercise. This guy's running and he falls, and it's just really great. Like I don't know if there's any dialogue really to speak of, but just great drawings, fantastic. You know, just showing the angles as this guy's plummeting, and he gets to this point, and he crashes through that weird circular symbol. He continues to fall. These people are watching him, these weird-looking, freakish mutants or whatever, and he's falling, and he pulls something out of his jacket. He's reading it. He continues to fall. He's falling, and there's a guy sitting in this little cubicle here and watches him fall. And he gets up and he's doing a report. Free fall. The guy falls, and it's a nuclear explosion. And it's really great there because, as you can see there's this little Western type of thing. It's a little blueberry reference there. Planet of Terror. This is Caza in color, folks, and it is just spectacular. I love the color. The blue red. You know, using those as the primaries on this heavy. Of course, that just gorgeous high contrast with the black and white spaces there. This guy is just a stunning artist. I love this, both pages here, the eyes, the nude woman here, the pose, just gorgeous. Once again, Caza's just got that, you know, away with the female form. You don't even have to drop acid, just read some Caza and you'll be good to go. That ends that, as I say, 96 pages. I think it could have been double that, 200 pages. It ends here in the back interior cover, and of course this is a Moebius. And nice way to end it there. And here's your list of credits: Bilal, Bilal, Caza, Claveloux, Corbin, Druillet, McKee, Moebius, Nicolay, Picotto, Schouten, Suidam. Well, I've got Heavy Metal 2 here, but this guy, Gall, which is just absolutely astounding stuff, conspicuously absent from the best of heavy metal. That's kind of weird, you know. Also Von Bode, he was in the first. He was definitely, well, this is issue number 2. Okay, so no Von Bode. Oh yeah, this guy too. I forget who this guy is. Let me see here. This is oh yeah, Alexis. This guy that did this, he does fantastic line work. Great artist. Really naturalistic in his art style. And he did this Eurus story, and I think there's several chapters to this written by Druillet. They did a great job with the reproductions on it and so forth. It's just that 96 pages, folks. This should have been at least 150, 200 pages. That's my big complaint about it. Otherwise, really well done. The reproductions, as you saw, I think are very well done. It's a good overview. I think it gives you like some of the prime players. For the most part, it's quite good and recommended. So there you go. That is the Best of Heavy Metal, 1977 to 1979.